All right, so real quick, let's talk about a half-diminished arpeggio or a half-diminished chord. It's a less commonly used sound compared to a fully diminished chord or a diminished seventh, but I think it has a pretty cool sound, so I want to use it in a few scenarios. So real quick, the other name for it is a minor 7 flat 5. If you think about a minor 7 chord, it is the same thing except for that perfect fifth is now a flat fifth or a diminished fifth. Here are the shapes that I want to use, and I kind of use the CAGED system as my jumping off point. So the first shape I want to use is pretty closely related to a C shape. The next pattern is going to be an A shape of a half-diminished arpeggio. Third pattern is going to be like a G shape. And the final pattern is going to be like an E shape. So I'm playing in G, so if I'm thinking diatonically, a half-diminished chord comes from the Locrian mode. So I'm going to think about the G Locrian mode. So the most obvious way to play these arpeggios in a musical situation would be over a G half-diminished chord, and you arpeggiate directly over that sound. So I'm going to show you how that works as well, but I also want to highlight some other sounds, and this is good to explore these different scenarios as well. You can play it over a mixolydian or a dominant 7 sound. The 6th note away from my starting point in the G Locrian mode is where the mixolydian pattern would start. And from that point, I would have, in this case, an E flat 7. So playing, in this case, a G half-diminished arpeggio over an E flat dominant 7 chord will have a pretty cool sound, and I'll demonstrate how that works. Another option is to play it in a Dorian scenario. So from this perspective, in G Locrian, I can find the Dorian mode in B flat. That's the 3rd note away from my root note. Now I could just play a B flat minor or a B flat minor 7 chord, but I want to get a little more specific to the Dorian sound, or maybe even a jazzier kind of sound. So I'm using a minor with a major 6. In this case, that's a B flat minor 6. So those are the 3 different drones that we're going to be playing over. The first one is the most obvious, a G half-diminished arpeggio over a G half-diminished chord or drone. The other option is going to be the same half-diminished arpeggio over an E flat dominant 7. And then the final example will be the same G half-diminished over a B flat minor 6. But then I'm also going to show you ways to blend in the arpeggios with picking patterns. So I'm going to find the scale shapes that naturally live in these areas of the fretboard. So I'm not going to use any outside notes. Everything is going to be contained inside G Locrian. But I'm going to be mixing sweep picking with standard alternate picking. All right, so there's a bunch of examples here, so let's get started. Hey everyone, real quick, if you're interested in booking private lessons with me, you can contact me through my website at breenmusiclessons.com, link in the description and the pinned comment. All right, that might have been a lot, but hopefully there was some really interesting sounds in there that you can take away and get inspired with and use them for your own songs, your own leads, and your own compositions.